Smoke hangs in the air like a heavy curtain. The sound of distant guns rolls across the hills, low and steady, like thunder that never ends. American soldiers move forward carefully, step by step, unsure of what waits ahead. They have crossed towns, fields, and ruined roads for weeks. Each bridge before this one was gone. Blown apart. Broken. Useless. That is what they expect now. Then, through the smoke, something impossible appears. A bridge. It is still standing. For a moment, no one speaks. No one moves. The Rhine River flows below, wide and dark, calm but powerful. This river is not just water. It is Germany's last great wall. Every soldier knows this. Every commander knows this. The plan was simple. The Germans would destroy every bridge. The Allies would stop. Then they would plan again. Weeks might pass, maybe more. But here it is. The bridge is alive, still breathing. Some soldiers think it must be a trap. Others think they are seeing a dream. A few seconds pass, then a few more. Each second feels heavy. On the far side, German defenders watch the same bridge. They know what it means, too. Orders echo in their minds. Hold, destroy, delay the enemy at all costs. Hands shake, voices rise, confusion spreads. An explosion suddenly shakes the air. The bridge jumps. Smoke bursts upward. The soldiers freeze. This is it, they think. The bridge will fall. It must fall. But it does not. The bridge is damaged, wounded, but still standing. Silence follows. A dangerous silence. The kind that asks a question no one wants to answer. Do we run forward, or do we wait? An American officer looks at the bridge again. He knows the risk. The bridge could collapse at any moment. Charges may still be hidden. German guns are watching. But waiting could be worse. Waiting gives the enemy time. Waiting could close this door forever. He makes a choice. Men begin to run. Boots strike metal. The sound is loud and sharp. Every step feels final. The bridge groans under their weight. Wind blows up from the river below, cold and fast. Some soldiers do not look down. Others cannot stop themselves. The water feels very far away. On the German side, panic spreads. Orders are shouted. Some try to fire. Others try again to destroy the bridge. Wires are checked. Switches are pulled. Nothing works the way it should. Time is slipping away. This moment was never meant to happen. No book planned it. No map showed it. Yet here it is, changing everything. The Rhine was supposed to stop the war from moving forward. Instead, it is watching the war cross right over it. This is not just a battle for land. It is a battle against fear, against seconds, against the weight of mistakes already made. Every man on that bridge knows he may not survive the next minute. Every man behind the orders knows history is breaking free from their control. The war has reached a point where chance now walks beside strategy. To understand how this moment came to be, we must step back. We must see why this bridge mattered so much, why its survival shocked both sides, and why for a few hours on a quiet stretch of the Rhine, the future of the war balanced on steel and nerve. Before we go deeper into that story, remember this. History is shaped by moments like these, moments when ordinary people are forced to decide faster than fear allows. The Rhine River was never just a river. For Germany, it was a promise. A promise that if everything else failed, this one of water would hold. For years, German leaders believed the Rhine could stop any enemy. Its width, its strong flow, and its steep banks made it feel like nature itself was on their side. For the Allies, the Rhine was the last locked door before the heart of Germany. Beyond it lay factories, rail lines, and cities that kept the war alive. Every plan assumed the same thing. The bridges would be destroyed. Engineers would have to build new ones under fire. Time would be lost. Lives would be tested again and again. Both sides understood this truth. If the Allies crossed the Rhine quickly, Germany would not have time to recover. There would be no strong new line of defense. The war in Europe would rush toward its end. But if Germany could hold the Rhine, even for a short time, it could slow everything down. Days could become weeks. Weeks could become months. Time was the real weapon. German leaders were desperate for it. Their armies were shrinking. Fuel was scarce. The sky belonged to Allied planes. Cities burned from air attacks. Yet hope remained. If the Rhine held, Germany could still bargain with time. Maybe the enemy would make mistakes. Maybe a miracle would happen. On the Allied side, the mood was different, but not calm. Soldiers were tired. They had moved fast for months. Supplies struggled to keep up. Commanders worried about overconfidence. A sudden stop at the Rhine could break momentum and raise doubt. Everyone expected a pause. That is why the bridge at Remagen mattered so much. It was not the biggest bridge. It was not the strongest. But it crossed the most important river at the most important time. Its survival threatened to break every plan Germany still relied on. For German officers near the bridge, the pressure was crushing. Orders from above were clear but unrealistic. Hold the line. Destroy the bridge. Do not retreat without permission. These commands came from far away, from people who could not see the smoke or hear the panic. For American commanders on the ground, the pressure was different. They had not planned for this chance. No careful study, no long meetings, just a sudden opening in the enemy's last wall. If they hesitated, it would close. This is why Remagen mattered, not because of steel or concrete, but because it forced both sides into choices they were not ready to make. One side had to act without permission. The other side had to obey orders that no longer fit reality. The bridge turned planning into instinct, and instinct, in war, can save everything or destroy it. To understand how both sides reached this breaking point, we must look at the world just before the battle. A world filled with pressure, fear, and leaders clinging to control as it slipped through their hands. The world before this moment was already cracking. Across Western Europe, the Allied armies were moving faster than anyone expected. Towns fell in days, roads filled with long lines of vehicles, men, and supplies. Maps were updated again and again because the front kept changing. What was supposed to take months was happening in weeks. For American soldiers, victory felt close, but not easy. They were tired in their bones. Sleep came in short pieces. Boots wore thin. Faces were older than their age. Every village looked the same after a while. Broken walls, empty windows, silence that felt watched. Still, they moved forward. On the German side, retreat had become a way of life. Units pulled back again and again, often without clear orders. Fuel ran out. Radios failed. New soldiers arrived with little training and even less hope. Officers tried to hold discipline, but fear traveled faster than commands. Above all of this sat pressure from the top. German leaders demanded strength where there was none. They spoke of holding ground, of final defenses, of loyalty and duty. But the men on the ground saw the truth. The sky belonged to the enemy. Roads were dangerous even in daylight. Supplies were promises that never arrived. The Rhine became the final idea to believe in. If the Rhine could be held, then all this suffering might still have meaning. If the Rhine failed, then everything failed with it. This belief spread through orders, speeches, and whispered hope. It did not matter if it was realistic. It mattered that it was something solid to cling to. As Allied forces neared the river, commanders felt a different kind of tension. Speed had brought success, but speed also brought risk. Lines stretched thin. Units were often far ahead of support. One strong counterattack could cause real damage. Yet stopping was dangerous too. Momentum is fragile in war. Once lost, it is hard to regain. Every commander knew this. They pushed forward, even when caution whispered to slow down. The bridge at Remagen sat quietly through all of this. Trains had crossed it. Civilians had walked it. Soldiers had guarded it without thinking much about history. Now it waited as the pressure around it grew heavier by the hour. Explosives were placed. Wires were checked. Plans were written and rewritten. But plans depend on calm, and calm was disappearing. By the time American forces approached the town, both sides were already strained to the limit. Mistakes had piled up. Delays had changed everything. Fear had become a constant companion. The battle had not started yet, but its shape was already forming. And at the center of it all stood a bridge that was never meant to survive this long. Next, we must look inside the minds of the men who would decide its fate. The commanders, the engineers, demoho, and the soldiers who carried the weight of impossible choices, each in their own way. War is often decided far from the front lines. It is decided inside minds, inside fear, inside pride, inside moments where a single choice cannot be taken back. On the American side, the commanders near Remagen were not famous men. They were practical officers, trained to follow plans, trained to wait for orders, trained to avoid risks that could cost lives. Every lesson they had learned told them the same thing. Bridges over the Rhine would be destroyed. Crossing would take time. Patience was part of victory. Then the impossible appeared in front of them. They did not have hours to think. They had minutes, maybe seconds. Radios crackled with broken messages. No clear orders came from above. Higher command was far away, still thinking in terms of maps and schedules. Here, reality moved faster. One American commander looked at the bridge and felt two fears at once: fear of rushing forward and losing men, fear of waiting and losing the chance of a lifetime. He knew history would not judge how careful he was. History would only remember whether he acted. That weight pressed down hard. On the German side, the pressure was even heavier. Officers defending the bridge lived under strict orders. Hitler had commanded that the Rhine must not be crossed. Bridges were to be destroyed before the enemy could use them. Retreat without permission was forbidden. But orders do not stop confusion. Explosives were poorly prepared. Some wires were damaged. Some charges were missing. Air attacks had already shaken the area. Communication with higher command was weak or broken. Each officer knew what was expected of him, but none had the tools to do it perfectly. Fear crept in quietly. German engineers knew the bridge had to be destroyed. They also knew that if it failed, blame would fall on them. In this army, failure did not mean a simple punishment. It could mean death. This fear did not make decisions clearer. It made them slower. It made men hesitate when seconds mattered most. Ego played its part too. Some German officers believed they could still fix the situation, that reinforcements might arrive, that air attacks would finish the job. Admitting the bridge might fall into enemy hands felt like admitting the war itself was slipping away. For American soldiers waiting near the bridge, leadership was not a face on a poster. It was the man standing beside them, making eye contact, giving a short order. Trust mattered more than rank. Calm voices mattered more than medals. When the command finally came to move, it carried no drama, no speech, just action. Forward. Now. On both sides, human limits were being tested. Training collided with instinct. Obedience fought against survival. Pride struggled with reality. The battle at Remagen was not only steel against steel, it was belief against doubt, control against chaos. And once the first men stepped onto the bridge, thought gave way to motion. The moment for planning ended. The battle was about to ignite. The first shots crack through the air without warning. They do not come as a storm. They come as sharp sounds, spaced apart, testing. Bullets strike the metal of the bridge and jump away with a hard ring. The sound travels down the steel like a warning bell. American soldiers hesitate for half a second. Then they move again. Smoke drifts across the bridge, pushed by the wind from the river. It stings the eyes and hides shapes. Men run low, gripping their rifles tight. Each step feels louder than it should. The bridge seems to breathe beneath them, rising and falling in slow, uneasy movements. No one knows if the bridge will hold. On the far side, German defenders fire from broken walls and shallow positions. They are not many. They are tired. Some are young. Some are old. All of them understand what is happening, even if they do not want to accept it. The enemy is crossing the Rhine. Orders are shouted. Some voices shake. Others sound calm, but hollow. A few soldiers stop firing and stare, frozen by the sight. They were told this would never happen. Another explosion hits the bridge, smaller than before. The steel jumps again. Dust and smoke fill the air. Soldiers drop flat, pressing themselves against cold metal. A few whisper prayers. Others curse. Seconds pass. The bridge still stands. American engineers push forward with the infantry. Their job is simple and terrifying. Find the explosives. Cut the wires. Stop the bridge from dying beneath their feet. They move with focus, blocking out fear as best they can. Each wire looks dangerous. Each shadow feels like a trap. German officers realize the first plan has failed. The bridge should be gone. It is not. New orders are sent. Air attacks are called for. Artillery is aimed. Everything that can be thrown at the bridge is prepared. But time is no longer on their side. More American soldiers reach the far bank. They spread out quickly, finding cover, returning fire. The sound grows louder now. Shots echo off the hills. Smoke thickens. The town around the bridge feels like it is shrinking, closing in on itself. The river flows on, unchanged. Above, planes appear in the distance. Their engines grow louder as they approach. German pilots dive toward the bridge, releasing bombs with careful aim. Explosions shake the ground near the river. Water rises in tall sprays. The bridge shudders, but remains. Each failed attack feels heavier than the last. American forces rush more men across. Trucks stop short. Supplies are carried by hand. The crossing becomes a narrow, dangerous lifeline. If the bridge falls now, many will be trapped on the wrong side. Everyone knows this. No one says it out loud. Fear settles into a steady rhythm. German soldiers fight on, But confusion grows. Messages are delayed. Commands change. Some units pull back without orders. Others hold positions that no longer matter. The idea of a strong, clear defense fades with every minute. The fog of war thickens. On the bridge, engineers finally find the remaining charges. Their hands move fast, cutting wires, pulling devices free. One wrong move could end everything. Sweat runs down faces despite the cold air. Breathing feels loud inside helmets. When the last charge is disabled, no one cheers. There is no time. The bridge is still under attack. It could still collapse from damage alone. Survival remains uncertain. As night approaches, the fighting does not slow. The bridge becomes a symbol seen by both sides. For the Americans, it is hope made real. For the Germans, it is a failure they cannot hide from. This is the moment when the battle stops being a question and becomes a race. A race to reinforce. A race to destroy. A race against gravity, steel, and human limits. And in this race, every small decision begins to matter more than any grand plan ever written. The battle now turns on moments so small they almost feel invisible. A delayed order, a missed signal, a pilot arriving seconds too late. Each one bends the path of history without anyone realizing it at the time. On the German side, desperation pushes decisions faster than reason. Officers demand the bridge be destroyed at any cost. New plans are made in a rush. Heavy guns are moved closer, even though roads are broken and watched from the air. Soldiers are ordered to attack positions that no longer exist. Confusion replaces coordination. Some German soldiers know the truth in their hearts. Even if the bridge falls now, the enemy is already across. Still, they fight because stopping feels worse than losing. In the air, German pilots are sent again and again toward the bridge. They fly low, under fire, knowing the chances of success are small. Bombs fall close. Shock waves ripple across the river. The bridge shakes like a wounded animal, metal screaming under stress. But it does not fall. Each failed strike deepens the sense of doom. The Rhine, once a wall, now feels like an open wound. On the American side, decisions are just as heavy, but filled with urgency instead of despair. Commanders know the bridge cannot be trusted for long. Every hour matters. They push men and supplies across as fast as possible, even when it feels reckless. Some warn that the bridge is too damaged. Others argue there is no choice. If they stop now, the Germans might still succeed in destroying it. Speed becomes safety. Engineers work without rest. They check supports. They listen to the sounds of steel. Every creak feels like a warning. The bridge is alive in a way no one expected. It bends. It groans. It holds. Soldiers crossing it feel the danger in their bodies. Knees tighten. Breaths shorten. No one lingers. No one runs faster than they must. Falling feels closer than fear. Small acts of courage fill the hours. A man helps another who stumbles. Someone carries extra equipment so others can move quicker. Orders are followed without argument, not because they are perfect, but because arguing wastes time. Then comes another turning point. German command decides to try a different approach. Instead of bombing from above, they prepare a direct strike. Heavy weapons are aimed. The idea is simple. Break the bridge by force. End the nightmare. The attack comes hard and sudden. The bridge takes more damage. Pieces fall into the river below. For a moment, it feels like this might finally be the end. But again, the bridge refuses to die. This refusal changes everything. German resistance begins to lose shape. The belief that the Rhine can still be held fades with each passing hour. Soldiers feel it. Officers feel it. Even without words, they understand that the moment has slipped away. For the Americans, hope turns into responsibility. Crossing the river is no longer just a victory, it is a burden. They must now protect what they have taken. They must expand. They must survive the next attack. Chance has already spoken. Now, consequence follows. As the bridge continues to stand, both sides face a truth they can not escape. This battle will not be decided by one final explosion or one bold charge. It will be decided by endurance, and endurance always demands a price. The battle now turns on moments so small they almost feel invisible. A delayed order, a missed signal, a pilot arriving seconds too late. Each one bends the path of history without anyone realizing it at the time. On the German side, desperation pushes decisions faster than reason. Officers demand the bridge be destroyed at any cost. New plans are made in a rush. Heavy guns are moved closer, even though roads are broken and watched from the air. Soldiers are ordered to attack positions that no longer exist. Confusion replaces coordination. Some German soldiers know the truth in their hearts. Even if the bridge falls now, the enemy is already across. Still, they fight because stopping feels worse than losing. In the air, German pilots are sent again and again toward the bridge. They fly low, under fire, knowing the chances of success are small. Bombs fall close. Shock waves ripple across the river. The bridge shakes like a wounded animal, metal screaming under stress. But it does not fall. Each failed strike deepens the sense of doom. The Rhine, once a wall, now feels like an open wound. On the American side, decisions are just as heavy, but filled with urgency instead of despair. Commanders know the bridge cannot be trusted for long. Every hour matters. They push men and supplies across as fast as possible, even when it feels reckless. Some warn that the bridge is too damaged. Others argue there is no choice. If they stop now, the Germans might still succeed in destroying it. Speed becomes safety. Engineers work without rest. They check supports. They listen to the sounds of steel. Every creak feels like a warning. The bridge is alive in a way no one expected. It bends. It groans. It holds. Soldiers crossing it feel the danger in their bodies. Knees tighten. Breaths shorten. No one lingers. No one runs faster than they must. Falling feels closer than fear. Small acts of courage fill the hours. A man helps another who stumbles. Someone carries extra equipment so others can move quicker. Orders are followed without argument, not because they are perfect, but because arguing wastes time. Then comes another turning point. German command decides to try a different approach. Instead of bombing from above, they prepare a direct strike. Heavy weapons are aimed. The idea is simple. Break the bridge by force. End the nightmare. The attack comes hard and sudden. The bridge takes more damage. Pieces fall into the river below. For a moment, it feels like this might finally be the end. But again, the bridge refuses to die. This refusal changes everything. German resistance begins to lose shape. The belief that the Rhine can still be held fades with each passing hour. Soldiers feel it. Officers feel it. Even without words, they understand that the moment has slipped away. For the Americans, hope turns into responsibility. Crossing the river is no longer just a victory. It is a burden. They must now protect what they have taken. They must expand. They must survive the next attack. Chance has already spoken. Now, consequence follows. As the bridge continues to stand, both sides face a truth they cannot escape. This battle will not be decided by one final explosion or one bold charge. It will be decided by endurance, and endurance always demands a price. The days after the crossing feel different. The war has not stopped, but something inside it has changed. American forces move deeper into Germany faster than anyone expected. Roads that were meant to slow them now lead them forward. Towns fall with less resistance. German units try to form new lines, but they feel thin and weak. The rhythm of retreat has become familiar, almost automatic. The broken bridge behind them no longer matters. New crossings are built. Boats move back and forth. What once felt like a miracle now becomes routine. That is how quickly war reshapes reality. For German command, the loss hits hard. The Rhine was more than a defense line. It was a promise that the war could still be controlled. When that promise breaks, belief breaks with it. Trust in leadership fades. Orders sound empty. Fear turns inward. Some officers know the truth, but cannot say it out loud. The war cannot be stopped now. It can only be survived. On the ground, German soldiers feel the change first. Resistance becomes scattered. Coordination weakens. Many fight on. Out of duty, not hope. Others simply try to stay alive long enough to reach the next town, the next night. For American soldiers, victory brings no joy, only movement. There is no time to celebrate. The war demands more ground, more effort, more endurance. They carry the memory of the bridge with them, but it is quickly buried under new battles and new losses. Still, something remains. They know they crossed the final barrier. They know the enemy's last wall has already fallen, even if the war is not yet over. That knowledge moves with them, quiet but powerful. The battle at Remagen changes how the war will end. It shortens the path ahead. It removes choices from German hands. It proves that even the strongest plans can fail when built on hope instead of reality. Years later, people will talk about the bridge as a symbol. Some will call it luck. Others will call it bravery. Both are true, but neither is complete. The real story of Remagen is about pressure, about people forced to act before they are ready, about fear that does not stop action, but shapes it, about how war often turns on moments no one planned for. The bridge did not decide the war by itself. People did. People who hesitated. People who rushed forward. People who followed orders. People who broke from them. People who lived with the results long after the river flowed quietly again. This is why the Battle of Remagen Bridge is remembered. Not for how long it stood, but for when it stood. At the exact moment when time mattered more than strength. If you want more true stories like this, where history is told through human choices and quiet courage, subscribe to the channel.